Zippity-bop-bam, zippity-zap-zam. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Karandrin Role-Playing. My name is Kevin Manus Pennings, also known as Cracked Palantir, and I will be your host and game master for this episode 155 of Brise's Tale. And as always, my good buddy Max is here to play the beautiful and talented paladin Brise. Max, say hello to the lovely people.
Oh, hey, sorry, I just didn't adjust my setup before. Hope everyone's doing great. We are excited to host this. This is our Valentine's episode, I suppose. So
It's pretty close. Yeah.
yeah, I hope you're excited for this episode. Karandrin. Will remind you of the episode number.
155.
This is right, 155. Great.
So let me start with an apology to everyone for not even canceling the last stream, just bailing on everybody. I just suddenly felt terrible and was too out of it to do a cancellation notice about 10 minutes before we were supposed to air. So I apologize for that. That's the first time in a number of years. Well, it's the first time. So I do apologize, but I'm feeling better, and we're here to adventure and do some role playing.
Yeah.
So we left off in discussion with the mage Doshrik, who's an unusual figure, and they. Brise and Doshrik are discussing what to do about the potential threat of Volshad. And why don't you describe to us why there's a threat from her?
Well, Volshad's one of the powerful necromancers who's encroaching on the Lady Miagral's lands, and we know that she has control over a spirit that is a dream, can see into people and manipulate their dreams. And so we've already know that she's appeared in my dreams a few times. And we know that has under her will many trolls and ogres, some of them undead, some of them not undead. And under her influence as this Iron Empress, this old goddess that she's kind of taken the guise of, and making all these people loyal to her. So already a very powerful entity, and I tried to free some of the spirits that were in her service. She uses these ghostly blue candles to trap souls and borrow their power. And I managed to destroy one of her candles, but in the process, summoned her to the location. And I managed to escape before she spotted me, but we realized afterward that she could have probably captured the spirits who were now freed before they could escape and questioned them about who was the person who freed the candle. And I had already had a lengthy conversation with these spirits beforehand. So kind of an error on Brise's part and on my part that Volshad probably is pretty aware that I am now an enemy of hers, actively seeking to undo her influence. But before it was not as well known. I could at least feign loyalty to her or deference, but now it's possible she could be reaching into my dreams and trying to find me and kill me, or make me her servant. So not a fun time for Brise, unfortunately.
Right. And so you are in discussion with Doshrik about what to do about this. And
I believe the last thing he advised was seeking someone with the knowledge of, dream manipulation.
Right.
Preventing Volshad from entering my dreams and figuring out my location.
What time of day is it? Would you remind me?
So I woke really late, a couple hours after dawn, and we just started this conversation after breakfast. I mean, it's got to be, late morning.
Mm-hmm. Doshrik asks you if you've been to. Do you know where they're keeping Elbrig, the Dreamweaver?
I tell him, yeah, I can take you to a spot in the valley where I see the village. And I know that she's in a tower. I believe it has multiple floors, building in a village with multiple floors. I say it's also the village where Holiver's Nonglyph, resides or has been spotted around there as well. So it's not an easy place to infiltrate.
And Nonglyph will be a great problem.
Mm-hmm.
Their power is literally terrifying. Have you ever considered trying to free Elbrig?
Obviously on my to-do list, but no, I've always assumed we would need to take down Volshad to get to Elbrig. But that would undermine her powers if we were able to free her first.
If Volshad is deprived of Elbrig, then Elbrig would not be able to track you through your dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Volshad wouldn't be able to compel her to do that. We could at least scout out the settlement where she's being kept. And I could talk to Fraudrum about how best to go about that and get information on the settlement.
Yeah. So I warned Doshrik that this is Volshad's, ultimate plan is to influence nobles through the power of Elbrig. So I know it won't be easy, right? This is her golden goose.
If she's taken residence in that small settlement, it does sound like she has not built a new home elsewhere, or she has, and it's a matter of range for Elbrig's power. That Elbrig is kept there. We may be lucky in that the settlement is not as fortified magically.
Right.
And my arts, or Fraudrum's arts, could unveil what magical protections lie on the settlement.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to get permission from Fraudrum to pursue this further. But what are your thoughts?
I think now that I've moved against Volshad, it only makes sense that she's going to increase her, defenses or be more wary. So now is the time to do something like this to undermine her power. So I would support us freeing Elbrig.
Well, I will go talk to Fraudrum then.
Okay.
And see how best we might accomplish this, at least for a scouting trip, to see what defenses there might be and what
Mm.
shots there might be at freeing Elbrig from whatever magical prison that her spirit is trapped in. Um, Perhaps you could talk to the people just here in the keep and see what is known about that settlement in the valley.
Sure. I'm wondering, do we have any information on it already? Because Fraldrum, we had known about the settlement and Volshad for probably a couple weeks now.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, the settlement would
I
be
don't know if there's already a resource at the keep we can go to that might have that info, or
the settlement, of course, would be paying taxes to Miagral.
right.
And so there will be some sort of tax collector who would visit there quarterly or annually to collect taxes from the village. So they'd be on the books, so to speak.
Yeah.
But it would be nice to know, for instance, if it's mostly goblin or mostly human or mostly elven, so that you can evaluate the possibility of disguises if you actually wanted to walk around.
True.
Um, um, if it's nearing tax time, could you accompany the tax collector in disguise?
Right.
There's sort of some possibilities there that might get you in the door. Otherwise, of course, you disguise yourself as just a merchant making a stop here, seeing if you can trade wares or whatever and get the layout of the settlement.
Yeah.
It's just that your face is so easily recognized that you definitely will need to keep your face covered, whether that means just with a hood or magically, that just depends.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good idea. Look into get as much as we know about the village. We can even learn about like some of the buildings there, so we could maybe identify where Elbrig might be being held before we even get there. Okay, so I told Doshrik I'll pursue that.
So Doshrik rises and he's going to go talk to Fraldrum. He, reminds you to stay inside the keep until we have a plan.
Right.
And of course, to take note of any dreams you have in case Elbrig is being compelled to search for you, or if Elbrig is trying to warn you.
Right.
And so Doshrik takes his leave. What would you like to do?
We'll go to the tax office now. It's in the keep, so, and they should be up and about by now. It's late in the morning.
Yeah. Repairs continue to the keep. Just summer cleaning and repainting and so on. Thorough maintenance. You make your way over to the tax office.
Mm-hmm. Here we go. God, this runs. I got to do my taxes.
It's funny.
I got 2 mortgages now. I don't know.
Should help.
So much work. Was it you that told me the story? You just sent in the form blank and they just like fill it all out?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm
Uh,
honestly even trying that. It's going to take me like a week to get everything in order.
Such a pain in the butt. I don't mind paying taxes at all, but man, I hate figuring them out, especially since they already know the answer.
Yes.
So ridiculous.
We're not the ones committing fraud. It's all the people that are already in the government.
Well, it's the tax prep lobby
Right.
that want to maintain this completely unnecessary business. Young male goblin rises as you enter the tax office. Clearly checks you out.
What kind of checks me out? Like checks me out, or
Checks you out. Checks you out. Yes.
okay.
And but
My
clearly,
spear is down here.
And I mean, clearly recognizes you as
Right.
that woman, that special guest who's been staying at the keep, and asks, "How can I help you, my lady?"
Okay, sorry, I was looking at something through my notes. I'm trying to find the name of the village because I thought we had the name of it, but
I had meant to look for that as well.
it started with a P, I thought. P or a G. Well, I tell him that I'm looking for some tax records for a remote village in Mia Gral's domain. I'm wondering if you can help me find any information on it. What is the name of this place? Helka.
Helka?
I believe that's it. I don't know why that stands out in my notes. Points to a smoke. It's the Dwarven Trapper. You pointed to a village called Pelka. Maybe that's it. That's what's in my notes, so. So I ask him for details on a village by the name of Pelka, if they know when the tax collector, if I could speak with the tax collector who went there last, or if you have any records on the village as well.
You're told that the tax collector visited several months ago. Isn't
Okay.
due back for a while. Of course, there's records of it. All 52 citizens are recorded in the ledger.
Okay.
He warns you that it's difficult to get to. There's hardly anything there, just a small walled town and some outlying farms.
Mm-hmm.
Surely there are more interesting places for you to visit.
This town is is of great interest to me. I rest assured. Is there a chance I could speak with the collector who visited? It'll be well worth his time that he's helping one of Lady Miagral's servants.
I could summon her, certainly. She lives in Ballabry. Could be here by this evening.
That would be perfect.
He immediately takes out a note, scribbles it, summons a runner, and sends it off. And I should probably stop him and have him ask you, meeting at your quarters. Is that fine?
Mm-hmm.
And so he finishes the note. The runner takes it away.
Okay. Good. Anything else I want to ask the assistant, though? So they know the number of citizens. The town is walled. Pretty remote. I assume they have like directions for how to get there.
He doesn't, but of course she knows the way well.
Okay. You can ask her that then.
Is there anything else that you can ask?
Mm-hmm.
There's no real reason to look at the ledger.
Yeah, I'm looking for more notes on Elbrig. We know that perhaps on a second floor, farm animals outside, a tiny village. Wolshad holds meetings in the upstairs room with her followers. Perhaps she's in the village around half the time. I wonder who her followers are. Yeah. The tax collector probably wouldn't be able to figure that out.
And it may just mean hirelings.
Oh, okay. I see. I wrote followers, but yeah, maybe it's just that mundane.
Roll for me.
19.
She could, of course, have some, people following her as the Iron Empress there. And her acting as a high priest or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Probably meeting in secret because there's probably some village priest there that worships your pantheon.
Right.
But certainly it would be helpful to have, more loyal villagers under her beck and call. She would presumably, just as you are considerably wealthier than almost anyone you meet,
mm-hmm.
She probably has quite a bit of coin to throw around, and so, she would wield a great deal of influence there, It'd be interesting to see what name she's going by on the tax ledger, but there's no way to know which one is
Right. And she only showed up we don't know when she showed up. It could have been a long time ago or
could have
recently.
been decades.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Here's another thing I didn't even think about until now. Is there a way we could bargain with Volshad? If she's serving Holver, pressured and her influence to serve her, could we somehow secure her safety as long as she probably wouldn't do that. Free Elbrig to guarantee us. I don't know.
and what do you have that's going to put a dent in Holver?
I would be going after Holver, which she would probably laugh off anyway. So,
Right.
Yeah. By the way, is Elbrig spelled Brieg or Breig?
Elbrieg.
IEG, gotcha. I have it spelled both ways. Elbrieg. Okay.
It's possible, you think, that some of the priests here or in Balabry may have been to that village, like if there was ever an outbreak or anything.
Mm-hmm.
They might have had business there and give you some lay of the land and some information about the occupants and about the layout, if that's of any interest to you.
Yeah. We have some time. We can go visit the temple in the keep. Have a talk with them.
Across the keep you go. Maintenance continues apace, of course.
Keep Azrael, my cat familiar, close by.
Enter the temple. An acolyte approaches. Older goblin female. My lady?
Yes. I'm hoping to speak with someone who's been to the village of Pelka, which is a smaller remote village in Miagral's domain. Do you think you could find someone?
We helped with a cattle blight there not more than 3 months ago.
Okay.
I'll see if I can find the names of the priests who went there. She gestures to a seat in the the main sort of opening of the temple.
Yeah.
Turns fairly quickly. With an older male goblin. My lady, this is Kellor. He was one of the 3 priests who journeyed to Pelka.
Uh-oh. We got some echoage.
Oh, do we now?
I don't hear it though. Say something, Kevin.
Reverb, huh, baby? Anything going on? How do I sound? Do I sound groovy?
You sound pretty normal to me.
As annoying as ever.
The reverb helps, actually. Oh, she hears you with me too?
I don't hear anything coming from you.
I don't know. I'm a guy got the YouTube video pulled up and I'm listening to the audio. And
I don't know, Obi-Wan. I don't know what to say. We may just have to deal with it because, right.
maybe you have those fancy reverb settings turned on. It's true. Some speakers, you plug them in and they automatically apply filtering. And I'm like, I just wanted to hear what it sounds like. And it's like,
Right.
no, you want the bass boosted and the treble, modified. I'm like, leave it alone. It's just audio.
How does it communicate that to the machine? I don't understand that. Like you plug it in and it automatically sends adjustments. That's so weird.
Well, yeah, because it's the hardware itself. It's the sounds coming through the speaker and it's filtering it as it comes out.
I got
So
you.
it just has this default setting that it's like, oh, surely you want to,
All
boost
of
the
these
bass,
settings.
lower
Right.
the treble. And it's like, no, because I'm talking. You want to hear.
Right. Treble is important.
Yeah, it's one of the most important things. So it's, Obi-Wan says, it's my sound bar.
She don't play.
Exactly. So this is Kellor, his name is.
Mm-hmm.
Kellogg's.
How can I help, my lady? You were interested
Yes.
in Pelka?
Yes, I heard you had gone to thank you for your service and to the temple and helping the resolve the cattle blight that was there. I'm interested in some details about the village. I was thinking of going myself. I was wondering if you could tell me anything you recall about what buildings were there aside from any houses, and about how many the populace itself, what their kind of dominant race was, and how many people there were.
It's a mix of elves and goblins. Roll for me.
79.
He's clearly like holding stuff back. Like he's clearly uneasy talking about it. They're nice enough folk. The settlement is tiny. No more than 50 people living in town. Early spring, when we went, a disease had set itself among the cattle. We used our arts and did what we could to remove the disease. At the request of the priestess who lives there.
What was the name of the priestess?
I can't recall.
Does it seem like he's lying?
Roll.
8.
No.
Okay. I tell him, is there anything more you recall? Surely you were there for some time, to cast spells of power enough to ward off a blight.
The herds are small, but we were there for 2 nights. There's not even an inn. We had to stay with family members, people's homes. It's just that for such a poor settlement, some of them sport some very nice clothing. It's very strange.
Hmm.
It's a very hard scrabble little town, but it's clear that about half of the people you see will have some nice little trinket like a ring, or will have clothes of a very fine fabric.
Hmm.
Sure, maybe besmeared with mud or the marks of the day, but I just found it odd.
And if you ask them, did you ask them where they, got their money from, or these
What,
fineries from?
what business is it of mine? If they're doing well, I should be glad. The homes, too, though, you would see the same sort of thing.
Hmm.
A nice picture frame among poverty. Maybe the father of the household would have a really nice tankard.
Hmm. I say it sounds to me like gifts provided by someone.
Who there has the money for gifts? They're a friendly enough lot. I mean, at night they're a little wary, of course. Who wouldn't be in such a remote settlement? And the gates are locked every night. There are guards, but which I suppose is odd in and of itself. Usually a town like that would have one guard. This place has five. Four that walk the walls and one that mans the gate.
Hmm. Well, I guess, yeah, I should be, honest with him. He's the clergy. So I say, well, in my opinion, Kellor, I think this village is hiding something, or someone is hidden there, and this seems to, ring true to me, or to confirm that suspicion. I think something is very strange about that village.
Well, the city tower is well used. Lights on it all the time.
Hmm.
Their magistrate lives there.
Do you know the name of the magistrate?
Human woman, some age to her, striking bearing. Her name is Heodon.
What did he say? Striking.
Bearing.
Oh, okay. All right. And I The magistrate of the village. I pressed. Did the magistrate have red hair?
She did.
Very interesting. Let me pull Bullshot's description again. Add it over here. Alarmingly thin. Red hair and brown eyes. There's brown eyes as well, if he remembers that.
Yes, brown eyes. That sounds correct.
Okay. Is he still telling the truth? Or is he just like agreeing with me to...
Mention some other features, and
Yeah.
it really does. It really must be Volshad. Made herself mayor.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm assuming the tower is located at the center of the village.
Are you asking him?
Yeah. Sorry.
Not exactly, but close enough.
Okay. And would you happen to know if there are any... You were only there for a short time, but do you happen to know if any merchants come by the village or the type of traffic they usually get?
Almost nothing aside from trappers and hunters
Right.
coming to sell goods. My understanding is that once or twice a week, one of the settlement's occupants will come to Ballabry to buy goods, and everyone just sends a shopping list and money.
Mm-hmm.
They may occasionally get a merchant, but the roads there are little more than animal trails.
Right.
A full-size wagon would be almost impossible to get down those roads. A cart, yes.
Okay. This is good info.
He leans into you and asks, "Are you investigating? Is this from the lady herself?"
It has to do with her, the well-being of her and her lands.
I see. I understand. And he, touches his lips,
Thank you. Hmm. Okay. Yeah, I can think of anything else to ask him. I guess, do they have a temple there in the village as well? I guess of a priestess, right?
There'd be some sort of, sort of office, a
Right.
single building.
But do they know which, is there a god that's prominent there? A certain empress of a certain metal, potentially.
The temple there holds Haviland most dear. That would be the god of nature, generally depicted as a sort of serious-looking elf male.
I guess one more thing also is, do you ever see the magistrate interacting with the people, and is there anything unusual there? Do they fear her or revere her or respect her?
They seem well pleased with her.
Okay.
But I didn't see a great deal of interaction. If they have a temple, of course, that means you would have lodgings.
Right.
Even if it's just sleeping, on the floor or whatever, on a bedroll.
Mm-hmm.
But you at least have shelter if you go under the guise as you are, which is a paladin.
Right. It'd be funny. I just show up there undisguised.
Mm-hmm.
Could Volshad do anything? Right. I mean, it's 50 people.
Right.
But I guess it's not clear if she even. I mean, I guess she needs them, right, for food and her own, to subsist there. But
although, again, with the resources she probably has, I mean, think about your own resources.
mm-hmm.
You don't need anybody. You just need a town where you can buy food.
Right.
And so she's clearly seeking isolation.
Right. But it's interesting that she would go through the trouble to become the magistrate of this town, right, and oversee its,
and that might just be pride,
right? It's her side gig.
Yeah,
I'm an evil necromancer, but secretly I love playing Civ.
she's got a side hustle. She's playing Sim City,
Yeah.
I will zone this area for low density residential and pigs.
Okay. Seems pretty feasible though to just appear as a couple trappers on the road and at least to scout out the area, cast some magic to obtain more information, and then be on our way.
Right.
So that could be good. I guess ask him also if he recalls, the way there, down the roads. I imagine there's a lot of twists and turns.
They summoned help from us. We were led there by a guide, one of the residents.
Okay. Okay. I think that will be all. And I will offer him a 10 gold coins for you and the temples.
Most generous. Gives you a little bow. And he leans in again and says, "If I can be of any other assistance," and gives you a wink. And he likes being
Sure.
in the know.
Oh, he reminds you of that halfling. I never followed up with him. He was really interested in the Cult of the Iron Empress.
Mm-hmm.
I could gather information for you. I could
Yes.
resources. And we're like, please stay out of it.
Stay
It was a
safe.
stone one, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see him again. Eager to.
So let's call it noon now.
Yeah. It's going to kind of maybe have a contact there as well. Kellor seems pretty eager to help. Okay.
Head back to your quarters and get some lunch.
Yeah. Do we establish when Aldrich's going to be back? He doesn't know, right? Because it was kind of an emergency.
Yeah.
Summoned to a city that Mirgral was visiting.
Right.
Okay.
When you make it back, there's a note under your door.
Mm-hmm.
It is from Dostrick. Fraudrum is okay with scouting.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely forbids entry into the town until you have more information.
Okay.
So you can scout the outside, see if there are patterns among the guards, that sort of thing.
Right.
You could, hopefully get some vantage point where you get a layout of the town,
Mm-hmm.
From a high perspective.
But no, going in disguised as anybody and getting the lay of the land.
Yeah, it's just very dangerous because, of course, you are reminded it's not one necromancer there, it's two. Is there a trick we're missing? Is there any way we could convince Volshad that Holver convinced you to destroy the spirit candle to weaken her? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I had spoken to the spirits and told them that I'm, here to free you. It probably would have been clear it's, my duty as a paladin to do so. But could I twist that into also Holver was, paying me or
Threatening you or, yeah. I don't know. Just a
Yeah.
passing thought.
Yeah. I could have even said, well, I just, heard about this candle from a man, who goes by Holver, like play it off as I got some information. No, but that won't work, right? Because I keep forgetting that. I knew it was Volshad's candle. Ugh. Yeah, it would have to be like directly coming from him.
Right, yeah. It couldn't be incidental.
Right. Quinn says, don't listen to the Max. Gird up and go forth into the village.
That's funny.
Necromancers aren't real. Actually, it's funny. I keep reading the similarity of this plot line to Garth Nix. I was just finished the Abhorsen trilogy, and there's a powerful necromancer, and then a more powerful necromancer comes and says, "You now serve me." and
Oh, wow.
yeah, and it's this whole thing, and then she dies, and then the more powerful necromancer is like, "Fine, a new servant that I have that's also a necromancer," and so it's this whole evil feeding off of evil. It's a cool subplot.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So forbidden from entering the village, but we could set up a scouting mission. Anything else in the note from Doshrik?
Gonna try to catch you this afternoon if you're still in your chambers. You bring your lunch. And clearly recognize that you have a penchant for creamy soups. You tend to get a lot of those, and it is good. You definitely have found something that excites your palate more than usual. You ask the servant, you just kind of ask how long, if they know how long Doshrik was here, how long ago Doshrik was here. And they said that he waited in your chambers for half an hour. That was easily an hour before lunch, so you missed each other by some minutes. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm going to send him a note saying I'll be in my chambers for the rest of the day. I'm also meeting with the tax collector this evening if you'd like to attend.
Not long after you send the note, Doshrik arrives. Seems a little crestfallen. Says, my master was quite adamant that we not put ourselves in the way of Volshad or Holver.
That's fair. It only shows that she cares for us and our safety.
My arts have the ability to transport us great distances in an instant. It is called teleport. That will help us get us out of trouble.
Teleport. I say, I hope that having two of us be able to cast teleport is quite an advantage in case mine fumbles.
That's all the more maddening then that we can't enter the village.
Right.
We could be in and out in no time.
But we don't know what restrictions. Volshad is, or for a long time has been the only spellcaster there. She could have any number of wards against any other spellcasters, preventing teleport or other spells besides herself on the village.
It's called a dimensional ban. It's very high level magic. It is possible. Our master has also granted me use of a ring that can grant invisibility 3 times a day.
Except Holver sees exactly where you are.
These purple eyes aren't just for show.
Okay. Quinn says he used to play bass in the Dimensional Band. That's a good one.
I still don't think there's any way to accomplish this fully without us entering the village at some point. I'm going to continue to press Faldrum to eventually let us enter. Disguise somehow. I am no adventurer, but I could be helpful at least in getting you in and out of trouble.
We got Brise's character sheet. She would lead any one way. I know she's pretty impatient, but she does like to plan. That would boost the power. Some planning is needed. Yeah. I say that we can at least do some scouting and have a, contingency if we feel safe to go inside. Perhaps we could. I don't feel good about betraying Fraldum's trust. She's done a lot for me.
I feel the same. After Adabir's death, I was at a loss as to what to do next. Her taking me in as an apprentice has worked out very well.
I'll tell him what Keller told me about the layout of the village, that Volshad is posing as the magistrate or acting as the magistrate. The 5 guards guarding the gate and patrolling the walls, and the kind of ornate gifts that seem to be proliferating around the village.
Sounds like she has ingratiated herself with the townsfolk quite a bit.
Right. If she wanted us cast out, all she would have to do is turn the townsfolk on us. She wouldn't even have to cast a spell.
If we believe the prison that is holding Elbrieg is somewhere in the city tower, then we really do need to get a look at the city tower up close.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not going to happen with the current plan, but maybe we could still gain information. We'll also need some way to hide our campsite. We can't have any patrol come across us.
Right.
It's going to be some cold business up in those mountains. We won't be able to light a fire.
What is it? It's July. Yeah, I guess it'll still be chilly up there.
Yeah.
It's great. You're going to like Colorado in the summer, and like the day is warm, but then the sun falls. You're like, wow, it's cold. It's cold.
Yeah.
It's the middle of July. Once I went in June, and there was a snowstorm. It's like 20 degrees midday.
Jeez.
Yeah. Very different, a mile above sea level.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I tell him that I know some spells, the spell Disguise Camp, which will help. I think we just find a good spot while the sun is up. That'll be out of the way of the road.
Maybe we could approach one of the outlying farmers for more information, but maybe that would tip our hand.
Yeah, I feel like it makes more sense to ask people close to the magistrate, right, who interact with her or see her. Those would be the people we need information from. Perhaps we could watch someone leave the village, right, to go to the fields, and stop them on the way. As trappers or as in disguise, travelers on the road.
Well, Doshrik rises and says, I'm going to continue to press Fraudrum to at least be thinking about how we can infiltrate the village safely.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, my face and your face will need disguising. But I don't see how this plan can move forward without us getting even more information than we're going to get from outside the village.
Right.
Um,
I'll ask him, does he have any questions for the tax collector when I meet them? I think she'll pretty much just confirm the same information Keller told me. But she might have a better memory of it because it was only a few months ago.
Fraudrum mentioned that tax collection usually occurs in one of two places. Either the office of the magistrate or the temple.
Okay.
It would be interesting if we could get any details about the magistrate's office. Mention strange writing on the walls, for instance. That might be an indication of protective runes on the building.
Right.
She doesn't see any or doesn't mention any. It doesn't necessarily mean anything, but if she does see something, then we may have a problem that we can begin preparing for.
Right.
He says he'll let you know if he has any more luck convincing Fraudrum, and takes his leave.
Okay.
Good place for a little break, you think?
I think so, yeah. All right.
Guys, we're going to go refill our drinks and stretch our legs. So just hang with us for a moment, and we'll be right back. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Sorry it takes so long. Let's get our buddy Max back here. There he is. What did I tell you? So,
I have an important announcement. I looked up the Dimensions band, and I did find a band called the Dimensions from the 60s. And the only song I could find they've done is a terrible cover of Over the Rainbows.
That's hilarious.
There's an open, Quinn, there's an open slot for a Dimensions band if you ever feel like starting it.
I think you've laid out his future for him. That's great.
I don't know. I feel like, the Dimensional Band. Surely there's a music group or an artist called that, but no, nothing came up. So anyway, back to the game.
That copyright, that trademark is fair game. It's fair game for Quinn's musical career.
Quite, yeah, very much. So Doshrik takes his leave, and I'll pretty much remain in my quarters for the rest of the day, waiting for the tax collector. I could do some reading from my tome in the meantime.
Which one is that? That's going to be Nature's Law?
Let me check. Daily reminders. Currently, Nature's Law. That's right.
Okay. Roll it up.
46.
All right. Get an hour done on it. So in thinking about eventually maybe infiltrating the village, obviously you're not going to be able to fight your way out. Obviously it's going to have to be a teleport situation if that's possible.
Right.
So the other possibility might be bribing. Especially if you can find someone who's, open, seems receptive, hasn't been the receiver of a gift. You might get information when you're there, just handing out a few coins.
Right. Discreetly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So. That's a good idea. Finding someone who seems to not, be as open with their gifts, or not as received as many gifts. Maybe they're
right.
harboring something towards the magistrate. We could be more willing to talk. Good idea.
Roll for me.
40.
It'd also be interesting to know, and this would be part of your scouting, of course, be interesting to know if those guards on the wall, let's just say, do they require sleep?
Are you saying that they may not be human?
They may not be alive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just as easily, she could, you think about your own money, you could hire and equip 4 or 5 guards, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
But by the same token, if you want some sleepless guards, then no problem. Not for a necromancer of considerable power, anyway.
Well, that's what I got. My chimes will be able to tell me that once we get close enough to the village. What's the range on those again?
200 feet.
Yeah, that's pretty close. I guess that's what I always forget. Football field's 100 yards.
Right. So 2/3 of that.
300, yeah. 2/3 football field.
So you sort of relax away.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a knock on your door. Servant has arrived with the tax collector. I forget if do we have a name for that person?
No, they just said a she.
Sperrick, Sperrik. The tax collector is here to see you, ma'am.
All right. God, they're gonna need a huge bribe. The tax collector. I give them one mithril. They're like, that's it.
Well, remember, you've got influence. You know, she's meeting you.
I do, yeah, in my quarters in the keep. So hopefully that should be enough.
Right. I mean, you can always give a silver or so, or even a gold, to, as a thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Roll for me.
60.
It might be worth keeping in mind, you think, that Sperrick could be on Volshad's payroll as well.
Mm-hmm. And maybe reporting on me to her.
So you at least want to be careful about what you're asking.
Right.
You get a bow.
Right. And I hope you had a pleasant trip up to the keep this evening. Thank you for coming on short notice.
It was unexpected, but pleasant enough. She sits. You ask for refreshments. You realize that she probably has not dined yet. It's close to supper time.
Right.
So you
I
go ahead and order some dinner.
Right.
Brought.
Assuming she's goblin as well.
He is goblin.
Quinn says she brought bow. How quaint. Oh, you get a bow, like a bow.
I wish I liked bow more. There's parts of it I really like, and parts I just like. I take one bite and I'm like, that's really good, but then I don't want another bite. That's how I am with bow.
Maybe you haven't had a good bow bun, because when I take a bite of a bow bun, I'm like, it's gone. And
they only serve one bite once, according to your mouth, right? Just
What's really good is the chashu pork buns. There's a certain company that does it, and they're all like the Asian markets. They're so good. They're just frozen. You just steam them for like 7 minutes, and they're just delicious.
Oh, wow. That'll be some housewarming food, I expect, when I show up.
Well, yeah, because it's perfect, because it's like, if you don't feel like making dinner, or if you have guests, you just make a bunch of those.
Yeah. She's clearly confused as to why she's there. Let's have you roll a gut feeling on her.
29. God, low rolls this whole session.
She's shifty, perhaps no shiftier than any other tax collector, but you feel like you can see through her, like you feel like you have a very good read on her. So
right.
You feel like you'll know when she's lying.
So, dinner's on the way. I ask her, tell me what you know about Pelka. I've heard that you visited there this spring.
Quarterly tax, my lady, yes. Uneventful. They had been dealing with some livestock problems.
Mm-hmm.
The trip was uneventful.
How many days were you in the village?
It's only 50 odd people. They know when I'm going to arrive. So usually I spend one night and then leave the next morning.
Okay. And ask her to confirm if you met with the magistrate at all while you were there.
Every time.
Okay.
I've been servicing Pelka for 2 years. So I suppose that means I've met with her 7 or 8 times.
Okay. Usually go to her office to discuss.
To handle the taxation.
Yeah. To handle whatever you do with the taxes.
We usually do it in the temple. The priestess there is very kind about allowing livestock in. If they can't pay with coin, of course, they pay with whatever goods they have.
Okay. Do you know the name of the priestess? Who she is? I've heard it's mostly Elven. Is it Elven and Dwarven?
Elven and Goblin.
Elven Goblin.
A young goblin woman. Her name is Enucar. Ennucar.
Car. And do you ever see Enukar interact with the magistrate? Do they seem to be on good terms?
I haven't seen much interaction between them, but they seem to be on good terms.
Okay.
Forgive me, is this temple business?
It's a concern of it's just a matter important to Miogral's land and making sure everything's in order. Nothing on you.
Well, any way I can help, of course.
Okay. And I ask her about her interactions with the magistrate, if they seem cordial, if she's ever if she seems to pay her fair, or how do I word it right? If there's anything outside of normal business that she seems to bring up with the tax collector.
Not to get anyone into trouble, but I find
You
the
think she's a
magistrate.
necromancer? I'm like, whoa, okay.
I found her very standoffish and irritable.
Okay.
I don't think she likes strangers butting into her little pond that she's the big fish of.
That's understandable. She's never, showed ill will towards you, though, right?
Well, not exactly. she was very um, she was very curt about um, seeing the rest of the um, city tower.
Mm-hmm.
I had simply asked if she had comfortable lodgings there, and that it must not be nice to have a tower to view the mountains from. And she was quite curt at that point.
I could only dream of having a tower like that. She's like, get out of here.
That's fantastic. Just lay it on thick.
Man, I could really trap someone in this tower, huh?
That's right. You don't feel imprisoned in this tower in any way? Kind
Okay.
of trapped in this dead end job? Um,
Feels soulless being. Oh. Okay. And so I assume her office is then on the uh, bottom. How many? Do you know how many floors the tower is? And is her office on the bottommost floor?
the tower juts up from a larger building.
Okay.
The base is several rooms, and then the tower is another 3.
Right. Okay. Tower's 3 floors.
Magistrate's office is the first one uh, you as you enter the building.
Okay.
I will say to her credit that um, in past visits, the farmers had complained of ogres taking their sheep and cattle periodically. But that no longer seems to be a problem. And maybe that's a credit to her leadership. I don't know. Maybe the guards hunted them down.
Maybe she did. That's interesting. She's kind of ingratiating herself further with these villagers. I'll ask her about the. Apparently, it's heard it's well guarded. You managed to see the guards who were there, guarding the gate or the walls.
Yes, a mix of goblin and elves. You can see them on the walls.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they afford such, although she seems to be quite well off.
Right.
Maybe she's a do-gooder who was tired of city life and just relocated. Maybe she pays for the guards herself. It must be expensive. 2 during the day, 4 at night.
Mm-hmm. 4 now. Okay. The other guy said 5, but maybe she only spotted 4. And did you interact with the guards at all? They
Only a nod here and there. And of course, when they pay their taxes,
okay.
they pay in coin, of course.
I also mentioned that I've heard that the people of the village seem fairly well off. If the magistrate is so, generous, I assume she pays her fair share each quarter. Is there more out of curiosity than anything? Just how are they assessed? Is it per person or for the land?
Taxes are based on total income and value of property.
Mm-hmm.
The magistrate owns no property other than her personal possessions.
Right.
So her tax is simply the tax of her salary.
I see. I thought we could Al Capone her, go
Mm-hmm.
show up with a bunch of like tax collection officers, like you owe
Treasury,
us. Yeah,
treasury agents,
you're
Secret
coming
Service.
now. Okay, and do you know the way to Pelka from Ballabri?
I ought to by now, yes.
Okay. I'd like to travel there. It might be traveling there at some point. It'd be nice if you could share those directions.
Directions won't help you. It's almost impossible to navigate without a guide.
Okay.
I would expect in the next couple of days that one of the townsfolk would be coming to town. I'm sure a lady of your standing will be more than welcome to travel with them. They almost always stop at Melmott's Goods in Ballabri.
Okay.
It's on the north edge of town. That's where they get a lot of their dry goods.
Right.
But it might be a couple days wait before someone shows up.
Right. And what time they'd show up, that we're not sure either.
You could leave word with Melmott, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a few coin. If you expect the villager to wait, it would offset any lodgings they would have to get. They are very poor people.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on with your face?
I mean, they are very poor people. Like, are you sure? I don't want to question her. My mom's like, okay. I heard otherwise, that they actually were somewhat well off.
Well, they do have strange attire there, a mix of rich and poor.
Mm-hmm.
I just took that to be gifts from the magistrate.
Does she feel like she's being honest?
Roll.
65.
Yes.
Okay. They may very well be.
You'll see when you make it to Pelka. Shackle homes, a few chickens or pigs in the backyard. whatever subsistence income they make from weaving or from smithing or various other chores,
And then a Mustang in the driveway.
and then a Mustang in the trunk, or at least a Louis Vuitton bag.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's all I had for her. Kind of Keller confirmed everything else. Thoughts you're gonna ask me about the tower. I guess I'll ask her if there's anything else you know about, the magistrate's lodgings. Is there anyone else who comes in and out of the, her building, or is it merely her?
She has meetings with the guards that I've seen. Comments I've heard from the villagers says that her lodgings are and the magistrate's building,
Mm-hmm.
apparently just behind the office. She has a room.
So the priestess does?
No, the magistrate.
Oh, her room's just behind the. Okay.
I've never been allowed up the tower.
Right.
I would say at least some of the guards, their accents don't seem to be local. I always assumed that they just came with the magistrate, possibly guards from her old estate. Though they don't really match her accent either.
Mm-hmm.
But I suppose you could hire anyone.
I'm thinking. So what Brise knows about undead, right, is they typically aren't lifelike. So it seems weird that she would have any kind of undead individuals. Even then, they would be local, right, corpses, right?
Or, she brought them from afar.
Sure.
The biggest complication for having undead guards is they have to stay away from the populace.
Right. But it seems like they interact normally.
Right.
Come and go. So maybe they are just foreigners that are loyal to her.
Or a mix of foreigners and locals.
Mm-hmm.
If she pays the guards handsomely for their loyalty, then it could be the families of the guards that are the ones that have the gifts.
True.
The gifts are coming or trickling down from the guards' income.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, it would be seen as, boon from Volshad, from the magistrate.
Right.
The other tricky thing about having undead guards is you have to explain why that guard never gets off duty.
Right. It seems a hard ruse to keep up for years, which is
right.
How long?
Seems likely, yeah.
So
So
probably safe to assume they're guards just loyal to Volshad, alive guards.
And certainly you've seen the undead patrols. You've never seen a live patrol other than the ogres.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're undead patrols, there's no question about that.
But they're probably not close to the village.
Right. So that way you keep them separated and you have tireless patrols in the valleys,
Mm-hmm.
keeping out troublesome adventurers who were just out there exploring. You know, so
Quinn's tank foreigners taking all the jobs and all the souls. They should build a wall around Pelka.
exactly. So
Okay.
yeah.
Well, we'll finish our meal, and I'll let her go on her way and thank her for
Do you
showing
want
up.
to thank her?
I mean, sure, Brise is generous. Also, but it's a tax collector, so I don't know. You know what I mean? I'll give her. I'll give her 5 gold pieces. Surely, no one can say no to that.
She does not say no to that. She does seem surprised. She bows deeply. Thanks you, tells you if there's anything else. She turns before she goes, and she sort of reiterates, are you certain this has nothing to do with my duties? I've not done anything wrong?
No, I say you're free from blame. Just be sure, this, stays out of anyone else's. You keep this to yourself. What I'm trying to say.
Of course. And off she goes.
All right.
Do you want to wrap it up now?
Yeah, we'll say I just send a note to Doshrik with what I learned.
Okay.
And yeah, we could just leave it off there. I guess it's early evening.
Yes.
And then we can call it there.
Well, gang, there you go. There is another episode in the books, gathering information on the village of Palka and Volshad's role there. It looks like we are headed next session to a scouting mission to Palka, to see what can be learned from a visual inspection of the town, at least the town's exterior, and to see if any obvious openings are available to try to free the Dreamweaver Elbrig. Oh yeah. So a thought occurred to me, but it's kind of too late to bring it up. We'll have to address it next time. So thanks for everything. If you think we're doing a good job, then hey, like, subscribe, send us a little love on DonorBox. You should hear more from Max on his own YouTube channel. You see the short link down there where he discusses the role of music and original soundtracks in video games. Thanks as always to Elliot Dunovitz for their terrific character art for Brise that we use almost every session. If you want to see more of their work, go to artstation.com/Tortolua. And I've written a novel called A Shore Too Far, and you can find it on Amazon. I hope you like it as much as I enjoyed writing it. Max, why don't you say goodbye to these lovely people?
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this session. And we'll do a little bit of reconnaissance next time. Should be next week, next Wednesday. So y'all enjoy your night.
Everybody, thanks for everything.